So this is the first class in our world history program, and in this class I am going to discuss a topic with you, that is Renaissance. Okay, this topic is not clearly mentioned in the optional syllabus also. This topic is not a part of general studies also, but I suggest all my students to study this chapter Renaissance, okay, in detail, Renaissance and Age of Enlightenment, because this will give you a very good understanding of the development in modern Europe, okay, modern world, especially when we are talking about a phase of transition between the medieval world and the modern world. Okay, this chapter becomes very much important, Renaissance and Age of Enlightenment. Since this is not clearly visible in our chapters of general studies, so most of the students and most of the coaching institutions, okay, don't take this challenge to teach this chapter, or you don't do self study of this chapter also. But I will suggest you that if you want to make a good command in writing your essays and some this will be helpful for you in the entire GS paper. So don't skip this chapter, I request you all. Okay, whether you're a student of general studies or optional, you have to study this chapter, Renaissance and Age of Enlightenment. So I am going to discuss this chapter in detail with you. Okay, so this chapter, Renaissance and Age of Enlightenment, Renaissance and Age of Enlightenment, Renaissance and Age of Enlightenment, Age of Enlightenment. Okay, so optional students, okay, please give your attention here. This Age of Enlightenment is a part of optional history syllabus. This is a part of optional history syllabus. Optional history syllabus. This is not a part of optional history syllabus. This is not a part of GS syllabus. Okay, but we have to read it. This is just like the same. Without learning A, how can you learn B? If you want to learn B, you have to learn A. In the same way, Renaissance and Age of Enlightenment are basically two faces of the same coin. These are not two different things. These are the phases of development, two faces of the same coin. When we are talking about Renaissance, we are talking about a phase in modern a phase in Europe from 14th to 17th, 18th century. From 14th to 17th, 18th century. This phase in Europe is known as Renaissance. This phase is known as Renaissance. So this phase is Renaissance. And when we are talking about Age of Enlightenment, we are talking about this phase, 17th, 18th century, okay, onwards, 17th, 18th century onwards. So this is the kind, so what we see, these are the two phases of development. First Renaissance comes, then comes Age of Enlightenment, okay. So in this phase of Renaissance, what we study, okay, what is the main focus? The main focus is on the revival of Greek and Roman classics. This is the main focus. The main focus was on the revival of Greek and Roman classics. So we are going to discuss it in detail, okay. But what we have to understand is that, okay, this phase of progressive phase of Renaissance and Age of Enlightenment is basically marking the end of medievalism in Europe, okay, and the start of modern times in Europe. So when we talk about the medieval times and modern times in Europe, just you can have a simple understanding that this is a matter of debate and controversy, okay. So since this is not a part of our topic, so we will not study that debate also. So according to some of the historians, the period before this 14th century in Europe is known as Dark Ages, okay. And you can say that this was the period of medievalism in Europe. In India also, we study two different segments, medieval Indian history, modern Indian history. In the same way, Europe also, this is the phase of medievalism, or you can say that Dark Ages in Europe, okay. And according to the scholars, modern times starts from here in Europe. From here, what we see, modern times start in Europe. From here, what we see, that modern times start in Europe, okay. So what are the basic traits, what are the basic features characteristics which we can understand. How can we differentiate these two phases? I said that these two terms, Renaissance and Age of Enlightenment, are not completely different, okay, but how can we differentiate, okay, how can we identify the different developments during the period of Renaissance and Age of Enlightenment? So we have to understand this. This chapter is important for essay point of view also. Those who are my students, they all know that I always give emphasis on these two chapters, okay, and whenever we study this chapter, I used to just ask my students to write an essay, and that is, being a Renaissance man is the greatest gift to mankind, okay. So when I will finish this chapter, you will be in a position to write this essay. To write the essay topic, write the essay topic, and the essay topic is, essay topic from this chapter is, essay topic from this chapter is being a Renaissance man. Being a Renaissance man is the greatest gift. Being a Renaissance man is the greatest gift to mankind. Greatest gift to mankind, okay. So when I will finish this chapter, you will be in a position to write this essay. In the same way, okay, you can also I hope since you are preparing for 2023 and 2024 attempt, but those who are serious must have undergone the UPSC mains paper in 2022, okay. I hope you all are familiar with the mains paper, or you have mains paper, UPSC mains paper 2022. Look at the essay section. Look at the essay section. There are two parts in essay, part 1 and part B. So in part 1 there is a essay, okay, essay number 3. In part 1 there is a essay, and that is essay number 3. And what is this essay? The essay is, I am writing the title of the essay. The essay is, history is a series of victories. That's right, write the title of the essay. History is a series of victories. History is a series of victories, okay, won by the scientific man over the romantic man. History is the series of victories won by the scientific man, won by the scientific man over romantic man. Scientific man over romantic man, okay. So once I will finish this chapter, you will be in a position to write both these essays. The essay which has been asked this year, okay, and this essay I used to ask my students to write whenever I take more world history classes, okay. So I am going to start this topic, okay. I hope you understand what I am saying, okay. So what you have to do whenever you are just studying world history, what you have to do is, you just try to focus on understanding the concepts, okay. What you have to do, you have to focus on concept building approach first. You have to focus on concept building approach, and you don't have to memorize the hundreds of the facts that you go across in your book. Whatever the book you are reading, you will find many facts, hundreds of facts, thousands of names while reading modern world. So you don't have to remember all those names and all those facts. What you will have to do is, you will have to learn a string of facts. You will have to learn a string of facts. You will have to learn the correlation. You have to learn the correlation between different important episodes, in modern world history. Modern world history, you have to learn the correlation between these string of facts, okay. And when you will be able to correlate different events all together, you will be in a position to write the answer of most difficult question in a very simplistic manner, okay. Within the word limit, you will be able to justify the demands of the question. So you will have to take care of all these things while writing the answer. What you will prefer? You will prefer to write your answer in point-wise format. You will prefer to write your answer in point-wise format, okay. So in this way you can write your answers. So our entire focus will be on this matter also. You are a student of general studies, you are a student of optional. You must know that modern world history, you must know this, that modern world history is not a part of preliminary syllabus. It is not a part of preliminary syllabus. It is not asked in prelims, okay. So when we are learning ancient medieval, art and culture, modern Indian history, okay, what we do generally, that we used to learn different important facts also, okay, because there is a probability that it may be asked in the prelims examination. But here from world history, there are no chances that the things will be asked in from world history. Somewhere sometimes you will get some questions from the conceptual portions of political ideologies like capitalism, Marxism, colonialism, imperialism, open economy, closed economy. Such type of terminology based questions are asked in prelims examination, okay. So that you will be able to just give the answers once you will understand the concepts, okay. So we have to focus on these things also, okay. While during the classes, I also want to say you that once we will finish a chapter, okay, I will give you a set of questions, questions of about a set of about 8 to 10 questions, and you will have to write the answer of these questions, okay. Because I always emphasize this thing that learning the lectures, okay, is only 50% of your preparation, okay. If you are watching this video, if you are in my offline classes, if you are taking the classes live, okay, your preparation is only 50%, okay. If anyone is saying that if you just learn all my classes and you are 100% prepared for the examination, that is not I think that is not correct, okay. So that is 50% of your effort what you are giving if you are learning the lectures, okay, multiple times. But the rest 50%, or you can say that the excellent command of whatever you have learned, okay, will be established once you will be in a position to write the answer. And for that, what you have to do, you have to write answers, okay. You will have to write answers, okay. When you will write answers again and again, this will give you a sense of confidence, and you will be able to write answers in your mains paper very easily within the time limit, okay. You will be able to correlate things in a better manner, okay. So what you have to do, you will have to give equal emphasis to the writing part also, okay. So taking lectures plus practicing writing, both are of equal importance, okay. So please don't delay this thing. When you finish one chapter, you should start the writing answers of that specific chapter. When you finish second chapter, you will start writing the answers of that special chapter, okay. So in this way you can move ahead in this topic. So the first topic is Renaissance, okay. The first topic is Renaissance. This is a very simple term that I am discussing with you, Renaissance, okay. Everyone knows what is the meaning of Renaissance, okay. Renaissance means rebirth. Renaissance means what? Rebirth. Renaissance means rebirth, okay. We are talking about Europe. Renaissance means rebirth. Rebirth of what? So rebirth of ancient Greek and Roman classics. Renaissance means what? Rebirth. Rebirth of what? Rebirth of ancient Greek and Roman classics. Ancient Greek and Roman classics. The rebirth of ancient Greek and Roman classics. So what we have to learn? Why this rebirth of ancient Greek and Roman classics are important? Okay, so what we have to understand? What are these ancient Greek and Roman classics? What we have to learn? Okay, why this become significant? This becomes significant? Okay, this we have to understand. Okay, was it an intellectual movement, and why it has been said that when Renaissance started from 14th century, from the 14th century, why it has been said that medievalism in Europe ended? Why it has been said that medievalism in Europe ended? So we have to understand that what are the important characteristic features of this medievalism in Europe. Okay, so we will understand that. So we can establish a connectivity. What are the important features of this medievalism, है ना? And how this medievalism came into end? What are the different tools? What are the different devices? Okay, that make it possible that medievalism in Europe were ended. Okay, humanism become the most important development in this phase. So we have to understand what this humanism is. Okay, what we see that a kind of secular spirit A kind of secular spirit was promoted in this period. So what this secular spirit was, this we have to understand. Okay, when we are reading about classics, we have to read about what is the meaning of classic, what is the meaning of classicism, what is the meaning of classicism, what is ancient Greek and Roman classics. This we have to understand. Okay, so now when we are reading this chapter Renaissance, another important aspect that we have to discuss here is that this Renaissance started, okay, the center of this Renaissance was Italy or the Italian states. The second important dimension that we are going to discuss in this chapter is the center of this Renaissance was Italian states. This was the center of this Renaissance. Okay, so why these Italian states were the center of Renaissance? What were the important events in the world that took place? And these Italian states became the center of this Renaissance. Florence is the epicenter of this Renaissance. So why Renaissance started from here? This we have to discuss. Okay, we will also learn that when we talk about science, when we talk about scientific progression, you must know this thing that Europeans learned a lot of things from the Arabs. Arabs were scientifically more advanced when we compare it to the Europeans. Okay, so Europeans learned a lot of things from these Arabs, and you will be surprised to know that Arabs learned, okay, from Indians. Europeans learned a lot of this scientific progress from Arabs, and Arabs learned a lot of the scientific progress from Indians. So India was a Vishwaguru just from the beginning. Okay, so India was a Vishwaguru. So when we will study this medieval phase, we are going to discuss it, that how Arabs were scientifically more advanced at that point of time. Okay, so here we will learn that what Europeans learned from the Arabs, okay, in science. This we have to understand. Okay, the printing press was invented, the Renaissance ideas were promoted from every hook and corner of Europe. Okay, then we are going to study who were the different personalities in this Renaissance phase. Okay, and you must learn some of the important names here also, some of the important inventions and discoveries. Okay, and then you will be able to understand that how this Renaissance promoted scientific discoveries, how this Renaissance promoted scientific navigations in the sea, maritime navigations, how it promoted. Okay, so these things we are going to discuss in this chapter. Okay, and finally how this Renaissance became the basis for the age of enlightenment. What are the different spheres which are touched by this Renaissance phase? Okay, so everything we are going to discuss in this chapter. Okay.